Breaking the law, that song dedicated to Barack Hussein Obama. That little intro put together by our news director, Rob Dew. What a talented crew of people. You know, I shouldn't be so happy, but it is gallows humor. I sit here and I look at the news and legislation, and I got to be honest with you, it's crazier than I thought it would get 15 years ago. I mean, they're really setting up world government. They're really removing the power of Congress. They're really getting rid of our borders. They're really training kids that their parents aren't their parents. They're really putting cancer viruses in vaccines. They really are letting the curriculum for schools be written by the big three private prison industries to prepare the children for prison. We really have been overtaken, but the average person isn't even bad. They're just compartmentalized and unaware of how incredibly over-the-top all this is. Before I get to this piece by Max Slavo up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com, new federal law targets retirement benefit cuts. We thought our pensions were secure. And we're going to be breaking that down. I love how they say this will protect people, but then it doesn't. But let's go ahead and go to this clip here. House passes government funding bill with banks or derivatives bailout provision. Kurt Nimmo has a report on that, again, at Infowars.com with the subsections of the bill. Here it is.
What was supposed to be a rare moment of bipartisan compromise devolved into congressional chaos.
Here we are in the House being blackmailed to vote for an appropriations bill.
A bizarre scene. Liberal Democrats calling on conservative Republicans to join them in opposing a massive $1.1 trillion spending bill to keep the government running because it eases Wall Street reforms.
I'm here today to ask my Republican colleagues who don't want to see another Wall Street bailout to join in our efforts to strip this Wall Street giveaway from the bill. This is not about partisanship. This is about fairness.
How do you respond to lawmakers like Elizabeth Warren who say that in this bill you have a giveaway to Wall Street that will ultimately hurt consumers?
I don't believe that to be the case at all. And Democrats have supported this provision in the past. It was agreed to in this bill on a bipartisan, bicameral agreement.
It is true that the 1,603-page spending bill was the product of intense negotiating and horse trading between Republicans and Democrats, like Appropriations Chair Barbara Mikulski.
We debated. We fought. You know, sometimes you give a little, you take a little.
But it was too much giving and taking for wings of both parties. Conservatives unhappy it did not stop the president's executive action on immigration.
It looks like there's nothing but a walk and retreat.
Democrats upset about rolling back regulations on banks, potentially putting taxpayer dollars at risk.
It's back to the same old Republican formula. Privatize the gain, nationalize the risk.
All right, let's stop right there.
You succeed.
Number one, I'm not defending the Republicans, but it was the Democrats that overturned all the banking regulations in the 90s and created that big bubble that Clinton claimed was so great. I mean, they're the ones. Larry Summers, Rubin, Clinton. And the Republicans, a lot of them went along with it. Some Democrats spoke out against it, but it's bipartisan. They keep pointing fingers at each other. This is what the special interests want. Now, let me break this down. They claim they're protecting pension funds, and it's going to be private, not just public. They've done this in every other country. It's coming here now. This is what the big banks openly talk about doing. They say that pensions are untenable because the national debt's too high. Well, in a way, that's true, but then they sign us on to derivatives that are private that dwarf all the public stuff. So they use the fact that they've set up a public system that's untenable as a way to cut the public system while massively increasing what goes to the foreign banks in banker bailouts and in corporate welfare. So that's really what's happening. And, of course, I've told you 1,000 times, they're going to say, we got to pass this or you'll lose all the public pensions. And then it allows them to start cutting them. And then, oh, we're taking 20%. Then a few years later, another 20. But, hey, we'd lose it all. And then pretty soon the formula is you end up with about 30% of what your original pension was. And it's simply done so that the investments that were made in these big banks and in these big brokerage houses and in the stock market can be swindled from you. They don't want you to have money. They created a $2 quadrillion global derivatives bubble in the last 30 years to, well, it's actually since about the early 90s, so time is flying. It's only 20-something years. They were doing some of it before, but it's really 20 years. In the last 20 years, they've created a $2 quadrillion bubble. Our national debt's $19 trillion, rounding up. So they confuse the public. You owe $19 trillion, so we signed you on to 1,000 of the global 2,000 quadrillion. And this is all in the IMF World Bank documents. We've had the former head of the World Bank on many times, head of the other head economist, Stiglitz. I've had the former head of policy, the Treasury on, father of Reaganomics. I mean, this is well known. You're not hearing my opinion. This is a fact. But you even read the Wall Street Journal, it doesn't have that much real meat in it. The Financial Times of London has a lot of real meat in it, but it's always from the perspective of the New World Order, but tells the truth. Yes, there's a planetary government. Yes, we're taking your rights away because you don't know any better. And yeah, we're going to reduce your population. And it is a conspiracy by private 6 banks. And they're obviously smart because they run things. That's what their foreign editor said 4 years ago. The headline was, "And now for world government." And he even in another article attacked me. Because, see, I'm small-minded. I don't get the grand plan. No, I get the grand plan. In fact, most of the people, including the editor, the foreign editor of the Financial Times, I bet he hasn't really read Aldous Huxley and Julian Huxley and Bertrand Russell and Francis Galton and Charles Darwin and the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute documents and the Cold Spring Harbor documents and IBM and the Holocaust book and Shearer's Rise and Fall of the Third Reich and 300, 400 other books. I have. I know the plan, Jack, and it ain't nice. And all of you people, the plan makes Hitler look like a tame person. I mean, quite frankly, Hitler would be the special little mindless wind-up toy that they had as a beta test. And I'm not trying to scare people just to scare you. I'm telling you what's going on. A lot of people hear me talk about this stuff and they get really upset because deep down they know it's true. And it's as if I am sabotaging their happy little delusional green pastures world. It doesn't go on like that forever. So new federal law targets retirement benefit cuts. We thought our pensions were secure. The $101 trillion spending bill includes some new provisions that may come as a shock. And it's all billed to save your pension, but it's really the end of it. More government regulation over private retirement accounts, and even the establishment of government-sponsored annuities that would take the place of 401ks. See, it's the government taking your privatized system that was truly private in to prop up their government systems. But it's Wall Street managing it. Such reforms, close quote, would effectively end private retirement accounts in America. The government could then take these trillions of dollars and redistribute it through the new national retirement system. That's what Obamacare does. But it redistributes and lowers the quality of the care for social engineering purposes. They will take our retirement accounts. They will take our 401ks. They will say you all have been having such hard times earning money, so that we're going to do this is we're going to save you. We're going to give you government bonds, which are guaranteed 30-year government bonds, and you'll get 3%, and you'll give us your retirement assets. By the way, I am quoting this out of mainstream news. This article is links to mainstream news and the Congressional Record. These are quotes. Amazing. And then on top of it, again, House passes government funding bill with bankster derivatives bailout provision. We're going to go to break here in a little while and come back and get into the media is focusing on the wrong side of the torture report. University bans Christmas on campus to respect diversity, but students aren't buying it. A great example of how the tyranny of political correctness can backfire. So you can use their attack to make liberty stronger. We're also going to look at some other breaking, really important news as well on some other subjects. But first, I wanted to play this little promo put together dealing with Rob Dew, because this is what happened. This is what happened with CJ. It's what happened with me. It's what happened with Rob Dew. It's what happened with anybody and everybody that takes oxy powder.